now stop at jobbing. Now whip out your big 10-inch, rev it up, and the players up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Real Big Talk. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. That's Aerosmith. I'm not mad about any of those things. I'm glad to be here. I'm also pumped to tell you tomorrow, not pumped about this, Lola's going to be off tomorrow. And it takes a lot to replace Lola, even if it's just one day and temporary. So what I've done, you're welcome. What I've done to secure the fact that this show will be even remotely listenable tomorrow is I have invited a guest to join us every hour tomorrow. And we've got a great variety. Usually we talk to Stephen Allen Adams. We usually talk to him on Tuesdays and then Fridays if we have big news. So we're going to have Steve tomorrow. Okay. So we'll get all our state government news, find out what's going on around the state with that. We're going to have our buddy Aaron from WTRF, who's going to come into the studio and talk to us about the news that's going on, the news process, and the fact that he's a legitimate meteorologist. We're going to learn the difference, because I didn't know. I mean, a weatherman is not necessarily a meteorologist. It's all different. Yeah. So we're going to talk about some of the stories that are affecting us here in the Upper Ohio Valley, and we're going to talk to my old pal Greg Joseph from the Clarks will be joining us tomorrow afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be here.
I'm sorry. I take some when I can get some. And
That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
I've known Greg for a long time. I've been a fan of the Clarks for a long time. But the Clarks did something very special for me that none of us knew at the time that they were actually doing. So looking forward to getting into that tomorrow with Greg Joseph of the Clarks. You've undoubtedly heard the Clarks somewhere. You've probably seen them somewhere. If you've ever staggered up the generations for a big outdoor show with the Clarks, you know what I'm talking about. You know what they bring. And we're going to talk about music and life and what do you do with your music during a pandemic? What do you do with it? Because the guys haven't been able to play for nearly a year, and they've done some shows from their basements and things like that online. But we're going to get real into it tomorrow with some great guests on the show. So really looking forward to that. Talking to Greg is just generally a pleasure. He's just a great human. So even if it's not about music, Greg will have something important to say that will change your general attitude towards everything. So big show tomorrow. The only way the show could go on without Lola is to make it big.
You're going to make my head swell.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Be happy about what you got going on over there. Okay, well, let's get into real news, which is going to be a dramatic turn from how happy we are about the guests that are joining us tomorrow. This is a strange one. Breaking news in the last couple of hours. It doesn't seem like it would be breaking news if this was just any other person. It would just seem like it was disturbing and that was it. But the fact that it is a former Trump advisor that's involved with this makes it huge breaking national news. But it is strange. Kellyanne Conway, who of course is an ex-counselor for Donald Trump, allegedly posted a picture of her daughter Claudia, who's only 16, to Twitter. A topless photo.
You're kidding.
A topless photo of a 16-year-old daughter from her account posted to Twitter. How this works, and if someone knows more about how this particular process works than me, please let us know. And if you want to comment on anything, 304-214-1600. But it is, she posted it using Twitter's recently launched Fleets feature, which is kind of similar to, I guess, how Instagram and Snapchat stories work. They're only around for like a 24-hour period, and then they disappear. So the context in which it was posted is not known, and it is gone. I mean, but how does something like this happen? Now, we read, I guess was a couple months ago, that Kellyanne Conway and her daughter already she stepped away from the spotlight to spend more time with her kids. Like that was, a big part of the reason that Kellyanne Conway had stepped away from what she was doing. It says here that she shared the topless image and it was deleted after the 24-hour period. The fleet was removed, but not before Twitter users documented it. So if you put something out there, even for just a second, it is out there, it is screenshotted, it is saved, and it does live on the internet forever. On TikTok, Claudia Conaway, who is the 16-year-old daughter, posted videos confirming that the picture was authentic. They've since been deleted from her TikTok account, but Twitter users reposted copies of the video, and the video shows a visibly upset Claudia Conway, and that, I guess she would be. And here's her quote. So this is the direct quote from Kellyanne Conway's daughter. "I'm assuming my mom took a picture of it to use against me one day, and then somebody hacked it or something like that. She said, I'm literally at a loss for words. If you see it, report it." Well, what kind of household is that where your mom takes a picture of you topless just to use down the road?
I know.
Like, my parents weren't the best, but I venture to say they never tried to exploit me in any strange way like that.
Unbelievable.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of unbelievable layers to the story. One, how does this happen? B, why do you have that on your phone? And C, how do you hack into someone else's phone, which is something I'll never understand how that works.
Isn't it amazing how every single time something like this happens, it's a hack?
Yeah.
It's a hack. Somebody hacked into my phone. Are you seriously worth hacking into?
Well, I guess well, first of all, I'm not, no.
Well, but,
boy, you're going to be really disappointed if you hack into my phone. Like, all this guy does is take pictures of his dog.
Me too.
I mean, they're going to be like,
Yep.
this guy, dud. This is a dud hack for sure. But I would imagine if you're a high-profile person, you have something to lose by having your phone hacked or your computer hacked. I mean, we've seen a lot of different, and I don't want to overly make this about the sexual connotation of this because the girl's a minor. I mean, let's keep that in mind while all this unfolds, is that as strange as it may sound, the girl is a minor, and minors should never be exploited. So let's just put that there, put it out there, and leave it there. But when you have something truly to lose, and you have generally half the country into what you did and half the country that doesn't like what you did, you probably are on the list of someone who has more to lose than others.
Yeah, true.
I would probably just not have anything on my phone. You know, again, average person, hack my phone, wow, you're going to be blown away. That dog does a lot of crazy things. That's about all you're finding. If you're
my
Kelly,
cat watches hockey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you find. That's what you find when you hack a normal person's phone. I mean, and I'm not going to pretend for 1 second that we're not a society that has used picture messaging in a sexual manner. I mean, that happens. That happens. Brett Favre has been busted for it. The New York Mets GM just last week was busted for it. So sending explicit pictures through your phone or through a social media platform isn't new, and it isn't news. It's probably not wise, but it isn't new, and it isn't news. But the odd part about that was the quote. I'm assuming my mom took a picture of it to use against me one day, and then someone hacked her phone or something. That is a quote from Kellyanne Conway's daughter. That is the weirdest part. That's the weirdest part for me.
It is.
I just, what? We'll see how that one pans out. Probably not going to go well. Probably shouldn't. And you know what? It's probably not the end of the story either. My gut instinct, because of what we have read about the strange relationship between Kellyanne Conway and her family, I won't be stunned. I won't be stunned if it comes out that the daughter did it to get her mother in trouble.
Oh, that could be too.
I won't be shocked. I won't be shocked. Because it sounded like when Kellyanne Conway decided to step away from the spotlight, it was to spend more time with her kids, which sounded like they had kind of a rough relationship. I hate the whole thing happened. The whole thing is odd. And again, the kid is a minor. But weird story altogether. It's 2:18. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. You can watch this show on our Facebook page right now. If you want to look at us while we do it, we'd love to have you. It's The Watchdog on Facebook, also available on a YouTube live stream at watchdognetwork.com, our newly relaunched website. You can just go to watch. You can click either if you want to listen to the KKX feed or the VLY feed. We do have both. It's all right there. And you can get in on our survey question, which is about have we received enough stimulus? And then you can look at the results and see what your fellow visitors have to say about that. 304-214-1600 is the phone number. A couple other things kind of breaking as of this morning. This guy, he cannot get out of his own way. My Pillow guy. My Pillow guy.
Again?
Well, he doesn't have Twitter anymore. They took his Twitter.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, the My Pillow guy, who his name is Mike Lindell, by the way, but no one will probably ever call him that when you could be known as the My Pillow guy. He had his Twitter suspended because he continues to spread the claim that the presidential election was marred with fraud. Now, I get that you don't like it there, Lindell, but you're trying to sell pillows. Now, last I checked, much like Michael Jordan once said about Nikes, Republicans wear Nikes too. Well, Democrats also use pillows. At the end of the day, you can die on that hill with President Trump if that's what you so choose to do. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. That's up to you. That's up to you how you feel about that and how you move forward from it. But you're trying to sell pillows, man. Are you out of your mind? You're trying to sell pillows. And if you keep that up, not one blue head will be sleeping on one My Pillow across this great land. And now you can't tell anybody about it on Twitter because you don't have none. Now, I will say this as far as that goes. I think Twitter, Facebook, and all these social media platforms, I understand to a degree. Let me preface it with to a degree. To why Donald Trump had to be suspended during the time he was suspended. And maybe some could argue it was too late to suspend Donald Trump when it was suspended. I think in this case, and I hate myself for saying this out loud, this is a little too much power for Twitter. The guy is allowed to be an idiot. Being an idiot is not a crime. Now, it is spreading a false narrative, but we can spread false narratives on a much smaller basis with absolutely zero blowback on a personal level. If it was me that was tweeting that I thought the election was marred with fraud, I'd get a slap on the wrist. And they would suspend it for 24 hours or however that goes. It looks bad. It looks bad. I get why it's happening, but it does look like an extreme power from social media sites.
They did what I felt was the responsible thing to do. They started tagging things and saying this is unsubstantiated. Yeah. This is not a truth. And listing things. If you're going to monitor what people are doing and saying, but that should be all you do. Monitor and hit it with things that you can absolutely say that there are real facts behind it. You're
Sure.
saying that it's not real. But you can't, if you're going to start trying to just wipe everybody off, you're right, it looks bad. It just looks bad.
It does.
And you're going to get yourself in trouble. Congress is already waving flags about taking, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the other social platforms to real task for what they're doing with their algorithms and, trying to manipulate the news and the ideas that you personally get. So they should be very, very careful about trying to really censor what people are saying. Just mark it that it's not factually correct and let people, they're assuming that people are really stupid. Now, I will go with that on a certain degree.
I can say this. A person is smart. A group of people is generally not as smart as an individual can prove themselves to be. And we've seen that. The masses show a bad idea is followed by many. I don't want to use the word stupid because a person, every person can have smarts about them for one thing or another, but a mass of people is generally stupid.
Well, it's that herd mentality.
Sure.
Once an idea gets put into people's brains, they stop trying to analyze what it is that is being pushed as much as it is, I want to belong to this group because it's a group and they accept me for what I am and what they're, for believing in what they're doing. I didn't mean everybody is stupid.
Yeah,
but,
no. Yeah, I get it.
It's up to each of us as individuals to see something, investigate something, and then make a decision on it, an informed decision on what we have found to be the story or the facts. And if you go ahead and you choose to believe, then that's on you.
Sure.
That's your prerogative to do that. But I think Twitter and Facebook, everybody better be uber careful because they're going to get really scrutinized once all this hoopla in Washington boils down and they need more photo ops. You're going to get really, really scrutinized in the months to come. So you better be careful who's you're poking sticks at.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I don't subscribe to My Pillow guy's theories at all, but I do think that it is a very slippery, dangerous slope to just start pulling people off of their social media platforms for that. Lola explained it the best. Just put, this isn't factual under their tweet or under their Facebook page. Just put this isn't factual and let them keep going on. Because if you start regulating this in a way that looks the way that this looks, I think it goes down a bad path. It goes down a bad path. I mean, I think spreading misinformation, first and foremost, is a bad path. But I think starting to absolutely dismiss people that are doing it, first of all, you would have half of Twitter and half of Facebook and half of any other anything dismissed.
Okay, actually it's called groupthink is the newest term for when people get into a group and everybody starts buying into what is being talked about. I'm old, when I was young it was herd mentality,
Well,
it's groupthink now is the term that's being used.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and I've heard that term, and I think the same thing. I would have just as easily said herd mentality as well, and I don't know if that was somebody that called to tell us that, but we appreciate it. I mean, the fact that you're listening and correct us if you know something we don't. This is a community radio station. This station is yours. I mean, we're the employees, but the station itself and the ideas, they may belong to us, but the opportunity to listen to it and participate 100% belongs to you. That's why it's here. That's why it's here. That's why you have Howard talking about things that are so local and so matter of fact to your days that this station is here. Well, just because we're talking about some things bigger than just right here doesn't mean your opinions, thoughts don't count on those as well.
That's true.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what makes this a well-rounded radio station. It does. It makes this a well-rounded radio station. Howard can talk about things that I can't. Bill knows things in sports things and places and people that I can't. But coming in here and firing off about current events and things like that, giving a hot take on it and letting you call and talk to us about it, that's what I do. And so if you've been sitting if you're bottled up with an idea, if you hear something that strikes a chord with you, whether you agree or you don't, the station's yours. And if we're saying something you don't agree with, that's okay. That's okay. It's not a fist fight. It's a conversation. It's a conversation, everybody. Wrapping up this last thought here before we go into our first break of the day. I had a few things here, and we kind of just got in, and this Kellyanne Conway thing has kind of blew me away, so we spent probably a little more time on that. And maybe, you know what, let's just wait. We'll hold off on some of these because I think we'll probably revisit them a little later in the show. But I will remind you tonight before we go to break. Penguins hockey, the Penguins are hot. I never thought I'd say that 6 games in, especially after those first 2 against Philadelphia. Penguins 4-game winning streak at home. They are on the road versus Boston tonight. You can hear that on WKKX. That's right here at 7 o'clock. And then on WVLY, Martins Ferry at St. Clairsville. Hot basketball action. So we got you covered sports-wise this evening, too. We'll come back. We got some vaccine stuff to talk about, some positive things on the vaccine front to talk about, too. We'll try to keep it as positive, but we'll always keep it real right here on The Watchdog.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
In a divided year, we can still be united through giving. There's a $300 above-the-line tax deduction this year thanks to the CARES Act. You can take a $300 deduction for charitable donations. As an organization that promotes giving, the United Way of the Upper Ohio Valley encourages you to utilize this tax deduction. Consider making a donation to a nonprofit agency with a cause that's important to you. Any donation made to the United Way will go towards our annual campaign supporting local programs focusing on the community's toughest needs.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at doanford.com.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care
Find
of
your
you.
style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The Clarksburg VA Medical Center has today reopened its 3A General Medical Surgical Center. It's been shut down for about a month to allow the VA to reorganize following the agency's own investigation into the Rita Mays case. The former nursing assistant convicted in the murders of several veterans by giving them insulin, which they didn't need. There's new staffing along with additional training there. Mays is yet to be sentenced following earlier guilty pleas. Governor Jim Justice says all 55 counties will receive COVID-19 doses next week to hold vaccination clinics. The state has in recent weeks been focusing on 17 counties with a more regional approach. Jackson County Delegate Steve Westfall says his county will be ready.
I truly believe our local health department, well, a lot of our local health departments are capable of getting it out and getting into people's arms and stuff. We just can't get the vaccine right now in Jackson County or really in West Virginia.
Delegate Westfall spoke this week with WMOV Radio in Ravenswood. WVU Medicine President and CEO Albert Wright says he believes a joint effort in Morgantown involving WVU Medicine, Mon Health, and the Montague County Health Department could vaccinate as many as 4,000 people a day if they could get the doses. Wright says getting the doses from the federal government is the key moving forward.
If we vaccinate slowly, we'll vaccinate our way out of this by 2022. If we can get more and more folks in early, we'll vaccinate our way out of this by April or May. And I'd rather have the latter.
You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The U.S. Senate has voted to confirm Antony Blinken as the next Secretary of State. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin was a yes vote. Manchin says Blinken has the experience and leadership skills necessary, quote, to keep Americans safe around the world. U.S. Senator Shayla Moore Capito also voted to confirm Blinken. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Martinsburg, part of a virtual human trafficking training effort today. In 2019, the National Human Trafficking Hotline received 98 calls regarding human trafficking in West Virginia. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
It's not red. It's not blue. It's just real. Real Big Talk with Big Rick continues now on The Watchdog.
Makes me laugh. How did our eyes get so red? And what the hell is on Joey's head? This is where I grew up. I think the president fixed it up. I never knew we ever went without. The second floor is hot for sneaking out. And this is where I went to school. Most of the time had better things to do. Criminal record says I've broken twice. I must have done it half a dozen times. I wonder if it's too late.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 2:37. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. It is not often that CNN writes a glowing article about the state of West Virginia. In fact, I venture to say I don't recall. But today, there is one. West Virginia is nearly two times faster at getting its population vaccinated than the average of the rest of the states around the country.
I know. Only they could get more vaccine. We would.
That's going to be my argument.
Yeah.
I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give this state some more vaccines and watch what they do.
Yep.
And learn from how they're distributing it. I mean, I don't think that I don't. Again, you know, we talked to Steve about how the vaccines get distributed to the areas in West Virginia they need to get to, and he basically told us they come into different stations around the state and then they get distributed. to where they're going to go, and the number is the number. I mean, there's nothing, not too much you can do about that. But if West Virginia is doing this so well, feed them. I mean, liken it to a running back who's having a hell of a day on the football field. You don't start passing the ball, you keep feeding them. Give them the ball. If West Virginia is doing this that well at that kind of a clip, keep sending it here and send in people to watch what they're doing. I don't think it's that crazy. And I'm not trying to take it away from the other 49 states that need it. All I'm saying is there's something to be learned. There's something to be learned about how to do it by giving West Virginia the chance to show other people how to do it. And I tell you what, just for the sake of what it would do on a national level for the respect of this state is enormous. And it's nice that there's a CNN article, and it's nice to think that, okay, well, finally a little recognition for little old West Virginia. This is life-saving here.
Yep.
This is life-saving. This is the first time I remember in my lifetime that the national media is pointing to this state and praising it for the way it's doing something. Let other people learn from the way it's doing it. I'm just proud as hell. I really am of this state right now. And I am proud to tell you that according to the numbers I saw last night, and I'm sure they've gone up since, yesterday's web project of getting people signed up and in line for a virtual line for vaccine hit over 62,000 people. That was last night, so I'm sure it's much higher now. I couldn't find a current number, but
well, I'm on there.
I know, and that's, we talked about it yesterday with Lola. I mean, I know plenty of people that have started down that path. Have you? If you want to join in, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. If you live in Ohio or Pennsylvania, call us and tell us how it's been for you to try to get on a list. Because it seems like West Virginia is the all-star here. But at least it gives you a glimmer of hope that you're in a queue to get this. I mean, you think about how many times you have been on hold for something, and it's like, you're currently in our queue. There are 52 people ahead of you, and you just start to smash the phone off the counter because it's like, I can't.
Trying to get through to Comcast.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm going through an issue right now with my motor vehicle insurance that I want to smash my phone. But
he does, folks. I watched him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, to do a 3-hour talk show every day is not an easy thing. You got to read a lot, you got to prepare a lot, you got to be ready to go and know what you're talking about. In the middle of these breaks, I have to take insurance calls. I mean, it really is not easy. So, but my point here is, for the first time in a long time, you're number a couple thousand in a queue, and you're thrilled about it. I know. You're thrilled about it, and it's because the state is showing you that there is a light at the end of this queue, and it will probably equal in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks you being on your way to being vaccinated from COVID.
I can't wait.
No.
I can't wait till my number comes in.
Exactly. I can't wait. I'm excited for you to have that. Because even once everybody who wants vaccine, can't say not everybody's going to get vaccinated. But once the majority of people are vaccinated, we can have some of our normal lives back.
Yeah.
And I just think that the government, I don't know who you can point to government, and it's 1,000 people, and you have no idea what they actually do. But whoever is in charge of distributing this to different states, I think has a lot to gain by sending more to this one. And it's not just because I want to see the residents of West Virginia get vaccinated quickly. It's because I think the opportunity for other states to go, that's a really good idea. Look how they're doing this. If you doubled the doses next week that were coming to West Virginia and they got them all out successfully, or the majority of it, I mean, again, I don't know the success rate of anything is ever going to be 100% when you're talking about something that's so difficult to store, and it's difficult to give. It's difficult sometimes to get to outer lying areas. But with the success rate that they're having, I think people could learn from it. I looked at the DHHR COVID numbers. I have them in front of me. I don't think going through them county by county makes you feel good or makes anything better. Some places are worse, some places are better. Mon County is not good. Berkeley is not good at all. And then you have some like Braxton County, Gilmer County is at 559. I mean, I feel like you can get, Gilmer County is one of those places where you could probably get vaccines to relatively easy because of where it sits and how you can get there from the highway. It's outer line, but it's easy enough to get it there. Mm-hmm. That's a county that could easily move this stuff forward. And when you see how a county like that is not easily accessible, but accessible enough to get it there, put on a clinic, and get a lot of people in that county vaccinated in one day. That's how I think other people can really learn from it. Wood County, 6,300 and change. I mean, and then Wirt County, another good example. It's, located near Wood County. It's easy enough to get off Route 77 and get into the downtown Wirt County, downtown. You get into the middle of Wirt County, if you want to say, although they do have a little downtown area, and it's quite nice. But that's what I mean. I think the government should really take a look at, hey, let them run with it and show us exactly how they're doing. By the way, the state reported on Tuesday it has fully vaccinated 43,648 residents in the state. So they are full. That's the fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
Fully vaccinated, both shots, and don't need any more. That's really an impressive number. Lola, when you, obviously while we're here and you see me walk around here until I come in here, I have my mask on.
Uh-huh.
And since we're in different rooms, it's not really so much a problem for us. But when you go out, what kind of mask do you wear?
Just one of those blue ones.
A surgical mask.
Yeah. Because I have found designer masks I can't breathe through. And I'm claustrophobic anyway. So the minute I have a hard time breathing, then I get that panic in my stomach. And so I have found that Bill brought me one from Washington Hospital, and it is really easy. I think the way it's built too.
Sure.
It affords me a lot of area to be able to breathe. But yeah, that's all. I said a long time ago, I am not going to go the designer mask route. I am not giving it any more validation than I have to. I have to wear it, and I do when I go into stores or I go other places. But I don't have to be all glamoury,
Sure. I don't really, the reason the one I was wearing today doesn't go around my ears. And that's what I hate. I can't stand it going around my ears. I can't stand it pulling on my ears. I haven't had a problem breathing in any of the different masks that I've had. It's just they can't stand it around my ears, so that's why I have the one I was wearing today. But this is interesting. I do have an N95 mask. Do you wear the same mask multiple times?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And a lot of people are doing that.
It's on my visor.
Yeah,
in my truck.
A lot of people are doing that. And I was, again, that leads to different issues too, but sometimes it's not cost effective to go out and buy a $50 box of masks and just roll through them. It also isn't necessarily good for the environment for you to smoke through 50 masks and throw them all away. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different issues here, and people point to whatever part of that issue they want to and make a big deal about it. But the FDA has rolled back the N95 mask to reuse a couple of times, and there's also like decontamination steps for it. I have an N95 mask. I've had it since the beginning of this pandemic, and I have worn it multiple times, and I don't wear it all the time. And what I do is I have a UV light that I can put it in a room.
And zap it.
Yeah, and sterilize the room, and I put my mask in there right next to it to essentially decontaminate it. It is the hardest mask I have to breathe through, but right now, what's going on is Dr. Fauci's saying with these new strains that are out there, and just generally a good idea. And I mean, it seems so elementary but accurate. He said double up on your mask. I know. I mean, it's where does it end? Dr. Fauci says double cover up because the new variants that are out there. By the way, that Brazilian variant was just found in the United States in Minneapolis. So it is here on this, in America. How it spreads, how we stop it from spreading, I don't know. How much, more transmittable is it? They say it is. All we can do is either agree to accept the science for what it is, or go out rogue and just hope that we don't get it. And I mean, I know people that are doing both. But at the end of the day, wearing 2 masks, I mean, the theory of it, well, it's double protects you from more things coming through. I mean, it seems like a very elementary statement, but, when is enough enough? When are you pushed to the level? I mean, even as someone who accepted the science of all of this, I don't understand the science, but I understand the theory behind it. And if the more your nose and mouth is covered, the less likely you are to essentially release particles of spit on other people, and vice versa. If you are protected more, you're less likely to breathe them in. I mean, that sounds like it makes perfect sense, but now you're telling people to wear 2 masks for double protection. At some point, people are going to lose their minds. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong.
It's already happened. I mean, look at places, Texas, for one, where people are just being so obstinate about it. And when I was in Kroger Saturday, I was shocked. Most people, especially around my age and older, we all had masks on. Then you see somebody that looked to be middle class, perhaps a little even above that, just prancing around.
Sure.
And it's like, what, you think because you got better insurance? I don't know. I don't understand that you can make this small sacrifice and you won't do it for other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the ongoing argument about it is, it's not so much for you, it's the idea that it's for other people. And other people should matter. And your personal freedoms, if that's your hang up here, or you're not taking away my rights and things like that. I don't think it's really an idea of taking away your rights. I think it's more the idea of, please don't spit on me. That's just a human thing. I mean, when it boils down to it, you can take all the little particles of science out of it and just, even if this wasn't a pandemic, I don't want to be spit on anyway. And I understand that it's not always overly necessary to, you should always cover your mouth when you sneeze or you cough. I mean, that was, your mama taught you that. Yeah. I mean, that's not a Dr. Fauci thing. That's just your whole life thing. That's just a common courtesy thing. Yes. And I've known so many people that are against wearing masks that I can't ever say in my life openly sneezed or spit at anyone. Like that's the problem that I don't get. But I do think if you continuously ask for people to, now you're asking to double up on the mask and double up on this, we're already sending people into a tailspin, and I think this is just going to make it more difficult. Even though I think it makes sense, I think you should have asked this 6 months ago or 8 months ago. I just don't get the timing.
The story has, I grant it has changed with the facts and the knowledge that they know. But the fact is, it's been, don't wear a mask. Now you wear a mask. Mm-hmm. Now you don't do this. Now you do this. Now you double up on it. And by the way, if it hurts your ears, I saw this on a TV show. Remember that children's game? It was a board game with the little monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay. Take one of those little monkeys and hook it to the things behind your ears and just let that hook behind your head. Instead of it pulling on your ears, then it's hooked onto the little monkey's legs and arms. But you got to find a kid that's got the monkeys game.
I got to steal a monkey from a kid. We have a phone call?
Yeah, it's Earl.
Earl, what's on your mind today?
So is that a barrel full of monkeys?
Yes,
you know what?
I
will take a barrel full of plastic monkeys to keep that mask from pulling on my ears. What are you thinking about?
I don't know. Here a few months ago, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, I checked and I asked Google a question of how many people had died of the COVID and how many people had died of the flu. This was based on this year. And there was more people died of the flu than the COVID-19.
For 2020?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, and I will say this, that this is something that has been widely reported. The flu this year is down dramatically because there are a lot of people that are wearing masks and not spreading it when they get the flu. Plus, they're not going around as many people to spread the flu. So, I don't know necessarily about the mortality rate of flu versus COVID, but I can tell you this. I mean, and this is from personal experience, just watching the struggle my mom went through to not die from COVID. People are dying from it at a rapid pace. And we're over 400,000 Americans dead since COVID started in March. Now, I don't know how many people generally die from the flu in any given year, but I don't think it's that number. I think the COVID number is higher. But again, you also have to look at the source. I mean, I don't know, Earl, when you look at something, you check something out online, or especially, and this is where it runs rampant, when people share articles on social media, the sources may be, earlsblog.com, and if that's not a reputable news site, then maybe the information is skewed. But I can tell you over 400,000 people have died from COVID, and that's a lot of people.
But my question is, how many of those people actually died of the COVID-19?
Well,
we're not talking about the people that were already sick, the people that already had other bad health problems and contracted the COVID. How many actually died of the COVID that wasn't sick with any other problems?
I don't know the answer to that. It's a good.
I can't find it nowhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that down the road, when COVID is no longer when that sort of information is more important than getting this under control, I think maybe we'll find that answer out. But I will tell you this is from my own personal experience with my mom. Had my mom actually died while having COVID, and it would have my mom has congestive heart failure. So if my mom's heart would have shut down while she had COVID, they would have listed her death, I'm sure, as a COVID death. But my mom had congestive heart failure. So to be fair about all of this, COVID would have put my mother over the finish line, unfortunately. But at the end of the cycle of my mother's life, there could be so many different things that puts an end to it. But COVID would have done it in that place, and she would have been marked as a COVID death. Now that she doesn't have it, and I mean, let's face it, as much as I hate the reality of it, someday my mom will pass on. And when she does that, it could be congestive heart failure. It could be a myriad of things, and they'll call it what it is then. But I will tell you this, if they wrote, if unfortunately, whenever my mom goes, whether it's in 2 weeks or 2 years, and if they wrote COVID, I would call BS on that because, yes, she had it, but that didn't kill her. So I think it's probably a sticky situation when you go to that. And, when that becomes the most important thing of finding out how many were directly just because COVID. I will say this, and then we're going to go to a break, Earl. One of my dearest friends, he has been my radio engineer for 15 years. His college roommate, and we're the same age. He's 42, so he's a year younger. His college roommate, who was perfectly healthy, who lived in Columbus, died of COVID. Not anything before COVID, not anything that was wrong with him before that. He got COVID, and from what I understand, it honestly matters your amount of exposure. So the longer you spend with someone who has it, the sicker you're more potential to get. It's not just like, if you pass your hand on something that has COVID on it, if someone put their hand on a rail and had COVID, and then you put your hand on your face or your mouth or your eyes and you get COVID, well, that could certainly kill you, but the exposure of it is minimal. If you spend 2 hours in a closed room with another person that has COVID and you're not wearing a mask and you're breathing directly in the same air that they're putting out, then you are more likely to get sicker from it. And that's how I understand it. So, I mean, I think it probably varies, but that's just, it can happen to people who are perfectly healthy, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. So I don't know if you're a mask wearer or not, Earl, and I would never.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you do.
I don't wear one when I'm outside, but yeah, anytime I'm in any building, I put one on.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm in my backyard, it's just me. I'm watching the dog run around. I'm not going to put my mask on because you know what? I kind of need that fresh air for my own mental stability. Sometimes you just have to go out and take a deep breath. And I know that seems like a crazy, weird thing to do here in 2021, and it's kind of scary, but I don't blame you. I don't do that either, but ultimately I do. Earl, we're going to have to take a break. Thanks, my friend. Take care of yourself. All right, hey, it's your radio station, 304-214-1600. Always welcome to discuss the topics. Lola and I are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the sports headlines that are going around and get you all set up with the action that's coming up tonight on The Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen.
You solemnly swear.
Members of the Senate taking an oath this hour ahead of the impeachment trial against President Trump.
Former President of the United States.
Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy, the president pro tem, will preside over the trial. This time, no, not Chief Justice Roberts. Some Republicans, though, raising questions whether it will be constitutional to hold a trial and convict a president who is no longer in office.
Republican Senator Rob Portman of Ohio admitting President Trump does bear responsibility for the Capitol siege on January 6th, but adding,
"Oh, yeah, I've said that consistently. But that's not the same thing as impeaching someone and convicting someone who is out of office."
Portman said he read through the Constitution again and said it didn't specify that the proceedings could be used for former presidents. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
President Biden today signing 4 more executive orders focused on racial equality and advancing racial equity. The president says it is a start to bring unity to all Americans.
I'm not promising we can end it tomorrow, but I promise you, we're going to continue to make progress to eliminate systemic racism, and every branch of the White House and the federal government is going to be part of that effort.
Among the orders, the president directed the Justice Department to end the use of private prisons and combat xenophobia against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and also calls on HUD to address racially discriminatory federal housing policies. Later today, the president will hold a briefing to lay out more details of his plans to combat the pandemic and vaccination rollout. This is a growing number of states, including New York and California, say they're running low on vaccine supplies. Today, California is streamlining its vaccination program statewide, expanding age groups to use its supplies more effectively from county to county. You're listening to ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24 sanitizing spray. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Once dry, Microban 24 sanitizing spray is effective for 24 hours on bacteria when used as directed.
The success of Janet's meal prep business is keeping her from keeping up with customer appetites.
Paleo Prep Meals, this is Janet. Yep, you just reheat. But we actually have a wait list currently. Oh, can you hold on one sec?
She needs to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
A Texas teen is speaking out after his father was arrested in connection with the attack on the U.S. Capitol. 18-year-old Jackson Raffit says he reported his dad to the FBI weeks before the siege, believing he was involved in planning something big.
He was all over the news. You could see him, his blue coat, his helmet, his GoPro, his bulletproof vest. It was all there.
The FBI still investigating all those and many more that they're finding on social media. With more contagious variants of the coronavirus, some are wondering if we should be wearing 2 masks.
Vanderbilt University infectious disease specialist Dr. William Schaffner says he's been asked a lot about it.
Could double masks give you an additional layer of protection? I think that is possible.
He says if you're wearing a cloth mask, that's great. But if you have a surgical mask, it might not be a bad idea to pop one underneath. Of course, Dr. Schaffner says that really isn't his top priority right now.
Actually, my emphasis is on getting people to wear a single mask and to wear it appropriately.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The International Labor Organization estimates last year's shutdowns due to COVID cost the world the equivalent of 255 million full-time jobs. That is 4 times as many as the 2009 financial crisis cost. The UN agency also noted that many people who lost their jobs stopped looking for work. This is ABC News.
With the new president, so much is happening in Washington. Now, millions are turning to Newsmax TV, your trusted news source. They're going online to Newsmax.com for breaking news and downloading the free Newsmax app on their smartphones. Newsmax TV is on all major cable systems. If you don't get Newsmax, call your cable operator or watch it free on Roku, YouTube, Apple TV, Xumo, Pluto, and smart TVs like Samsung and LG. Newsmax is real news for real people. Start watching today.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
The weather will affect you every day, whether it's good or bad. The Storm Tracker 7 weather team is here to make sure you're never surprised. You can trust us to help you plan your day.
36 degrees here in Wheeling.
On TV, online, on your phone, our experienced meteorologists are here to help you prepare for what's ahead. Watch the Storm Tracker 7 weather team with Zach Petty, Aaron Myler, and me, Dr. Dave Walker. Weather coverage you can count on, working for you.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah?
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. After a few scattered rain showers, just mostly cloudy through the afternoon, a daytime high near 48. Your overnight low of 28 degrees under mainly cloudy skies. Mostly cloudy skies for your Wednesday with highs in the low to mid-30s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. Keeping it real for the right, keeping it real for the left. 100% real talk is right here. Real Big Talk continues. Now on the Watchdog, here's Big Rick.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. And now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain, they hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places. But the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south. Way on down.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. We'll get into a little sports stuff here in a second. Want to remind you, though, we talked about this yesterday, and I checked it out. Wow. There's some amazing stuff. Frio Stack & Associates online auction. Go to FrioAuctions.com. That's FRIO auctions.com. The bidding for this particular auction closes Monday, February 1st. And if you are redecorating your space, I mean, I don't even want to just say this isn't just man cave stuff. I mean, you can redecorate with some vintage advertising, which I'm a huge fan of. If you love the show American Pickers, a lot of that type stuff involved in this auction. We're talking about lighted clocks. We're talking about a lot of beer advertising. Really some incredible stuff. Get over to FrioAuctions.com and check this out. There is some stuff that I could probably redo my entire house with just all the cool stuff that's there. Bidding closes again February 1st, and you pick it up on February 5th at Cabela Drive. So that's how you get the stuff, but advertising stuff, clocks, neon signs, and more. Let's do a little housekeeping tonight as far as what's on tap. Martins Ferry at St. Clairsville on WVLY. You can hear that game. And then, of course, on WKKX, you got the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Boston Bruins. When Boston gets fully healthy, they are going to be just stacked. Right now is when the Penguins need to collect some points to make sure that they and that was part of the homestand. You can't ever complain about four wins in a row at home. That's fantastic. The manner in which they did it, though, they gave a lot of points by playing a lot of ties. So, it has its benefits, but winning is winning, and the good news is the Penguins absolutely did some winning during that time in that 4-game home stand. So we will continue to root for our Penguins. We got into this a little bit yesterday, not this particular story, but we were talking about women in sports and professional sports, namely, and how this year going to feature 2 women coaches in the Super Bowl, plus a female official on the field. So that's a big deal. But this is again, women making a splash, making an impact. The Washington football team promoted Jennifer King to assistant running backs coach. That happened just this morning, making her the NFL's first full-time black female coach.
I can't wait for the day when we no longer have to say black or Hispanic or female. It's just so-and-so got promoted. What a great day that will be. It
will be. And I think, honestly, I don't I didn't anticipate going down this route, but I got something to say about it, and it's my radio show, so let's talk about it. 304-214-1600 if you want to get in on it. But I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said. Someday they will just be coaches, regardless of gender or color. And I look forward to that day, too. I hope I'm alive to see it. And I honestly...
I think you will be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, honestly, these days of the world changing the way that they are and the opportunities opening up for women and minorities are days we didn't know that we'd ever see, you know? And I think that's a positive. It's a huge positive. But Lola's right. Someday she's just going to be Coach King. That's it. I think what helped a lot of people move forward through that thinking is if we stop doing it now and just call her Coach King. Right now it has to be made abundantly known and clear color and gender of everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we stop doing it now, maybe it should just be Coach King, and as many people that you feel like are resistant to it would just shut up. I mean, seriously, they'd just shut up. Oh, yeah, I tell you what, if this did not say Washington Redskins promote Jennifer King to assistant running backs coach on Tuesday, making her the NFL's first full-time black female assistant coach, if it just said the Washington Redskins promote Jennifer King to assistant running backs coach and left out the rest, most people wouldn't stop and read it long enough to care.
I know.
They would just go, oh, they have Coach King. Good for them. That was it. Let's go ahead. We got a phone call. Let's take it.
Yep, it's John.
Hey, John, what's on your mind?
I just want to say that, it shouldn't be about gender or race. If the person can do a job, that should be the only thing that matters. Because if they can't do it, they won't be in it very long.
That's right.
And I think we need to start looking at it like that. You can do the job.
Go ahead.
Do the job.
I agree. If you could see me, I'd give you a standing ovation because I agree that much about what you just said. We have, as a society, had to point out every little thing, and I'll say this in the most careful, respectful way possible. I am just an average, basic, 43-year-old white dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean that's who I am, and it's not because I chose it. It's just who I am. And so the opportunities I've been given in life to do whatever and whenever, I have no idea if they came from, I would like to think, my merit on the ability to do whatever it is I was trying to do and the purpose of being there. But I would venture to say in some cases, it was easier for me to do things. In some cases, probably harder. Because, we can go down a really stupid path that I don't want to go down. But, sometimes people always say, being a beautiful woman gets you things that most people can't get. I think it was Sophia Loren that actually said that. So I'm not talking out of school here. I have no idea what it's like to be a beautiful woman. I don't even know what it's like to be a beautiful man. But I do know that my life has been what it is based on, hopefully, everything that I earned. And whether it be a job, whether it be an opportunity to go somewhere, whether it be a spot on a team, I'd like to think that I earned it. So I can't put myself in the shoes of a woman trying to break into professional sports. I never made it into a professional sport as in anything. I can't put my finger on what it would be like to be a minority trying to break into a position that normally doesn't have people that are minorities in that position. So I don't know. All I can do is say that if more people just respected people as people, or honestly just didn't care about the variety of person it was, it's just, there's a football coach opening. And if Coach King gets that job, it shouldn't matter what color Coach King is. It shouldn't matter what sexual orientation Coach King has. It shouldn't matter what anatomy Coach King has. It should just be Coach King got the job. And we're going to be a better society. And like I said to Lola, and I don't know if you agree, John, I hope I'm alive long enough to see that, because that's what I hope for. I don't want to talk about the first black this or the first female that. I just want them to be people, because we're just people.
I agree with you, Rick. And I think that, we're talking about being united and talking about, having peaceful relationships with each other. And I think that once we start judging people by their merit and by their character and not by anything else, I think that'll be a big step going in that direction.
I wholeheartedly agree. I really want to throw this out there just because we had the gentleman in from the Martin Luther King Committee last week. I'm pretty sure it was Martin Luther King that said something about basing people judged on their character. I'm pretty sure that was Dr. King. And he said that a long, long time ago. And we didn't do it. And that really is, I think, the foundation for any relationship you could have with any other human being. I mean, it not just let them be people and decide if you like them. Decide if they're worth your time. Decide if they're worth the job that you have open. And just stop looking at people for any other purpose other than the purpose they're attempting to serve, whether that be your new best friend, whether that be your new football coach, whether that be your new employee at whatever job you have. And I don't know why we're so far away from that. But I mean, I honestly agree with you. You want to get unity back here. And I think, wow, man, this is a slippery slope to go down, but I'm going to do it anyway. We want to build unity in America, which we desperately need on red, blue, black, white. On every front. On every front. We're terrible at this. I honestly think it starts by just dropping a description of everyone doing everything. Republican Mitch McConnell says, black football coach female Jennifer King promoted. Shut up. Let's just stop doing that. Let's just stop doing that. I mean, I realize that everybody's got to fall on a political side into a category. You don't just get nominated by whomever. That's never going to change. But we keep pointing it out. When we keep pointing out things that sometimes are unnecessary for the sake of making them feel more necessary. It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. And if we stop doing it now, maybe things like that will become easier. I mean, there are 100%, I'm 100% sure of this because I've read 1,000 comments about it online and talked to people that have this. And I don't know about you, John, but I'd like to hear your thoughts because I think you're a relatively new caller of the show and I appreciate that you're listening. But I know during the NFL during Black Lives Matter protests, and the NFL decided that collectively they were going to take a knee or they were going to lock arms, and then it was, Black Lives Matters written in an end zone somewhere on a billboard. One of the things you overwhelmingly heard was, just stop shoving it down my throat. I heard that 1 million times from 1 million different people. I read it in 1 million different places. Stop shoving it down my throat. I don't think people that say that are necessarily bad people. I honestly think they just already get it. I think in some ways, I mean, Lola shot me a look there, and let me defend myself. I mean, that's okay. This is a program that we make our points. I think that the problem is huge, but it's not as big sometimes as we make it with everybody. Not everybody's going to come around. Not everybody's going to lock arms. Not everybody's going to kneel down for any particular thing. I don't care what it is. What I think is when you have so much overload to a system, these things aren't happening gradually. They didn't. I mean, oppression happened, and then it kept happening gradually and getting worse and better and worse and better and worse and better, and then to way worse. And you had this big uprising of protests. And then when the NFL and NBA got involved, people, I'm turning the TV off. I'm not watching this. It's stupid. First of all, a lot of them still watched. So that didn't affect anybody in any way. Viewership went down, and it'll go back up again. Everything like that ebb and flows. But I think if we just stop adding those things into everything, people will just generally accept it. Nobody's putting up a fight about anything besides politics right now. If these just slide into pop culture, into sports, manufactured sports stories, that it just becomes Coach King, not first black female Coach King. I mean, it's an accomplishment for her, obviously, and she should be celebrated for it. But if we get to the point where we stop saying that, I think more people are just going to accept it. What about you?
I agree. My foster sister is black. I'm white. And no one had to tell me Black Lives Matters because I already knew that Black Lives Matter.
I never even thought that they didn't. I didn't know I was so far behind the times and thinking, of course they do. Why is this a statement? Yeah. But I get why it needs to be said by the black community. I get that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I grew up in a neighborhood that was very split racially. And I had friends that were different colors. I had friends that were, other Italian kids. I had friends that are Irish. I didn't know the damn difference. I just thought we were kids.
Could you hold on a minute? I got to answer this phone.
You know what? I'll let you go, John. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick. I hope you have a blessed day, brother.
Thank you. You too. Call again. So, yeah, but I didn't know the difference. I didn't know the difference. Lola, you grew up in Michigan. I mean, I don't know how much of the Detroit story that people think of Detroit is accurate and how Detroit is portrayed. But, I mean, Detroit is a lot like Pittsburgh in a way. It's a melting pot of people.
First of all, growing up, I grew up in farmland. I mean, we were rural. I had very little exposure to people of other cultures and ethnic groups as a small kid. And then, of course, as I got into high school and we started hanging around in town and that kind of thing, it was a different story. Detroit, yes, is very culturally diverse. And I think part of it was that I just simply didn't recognize any differences. And at times, it may not have played real well, but I just didn't, I mean,
I didn't
because
either.
growing up, there were no racial divides. It was a kind of a gradual expansion of our town and our school, so that it wasn't like all of a sudden desegregation came around, and all of a sudden we were thrust into something that was a political hotbed, So, but Detroit, is very culturally diverse.
Yeah,
depending on what side of the city you're on.
Yeah, same thing with Pittsburgh. I mean, I grew up around in Clareton, Pennsylvania is a steel town. I mean, you want to talk about every ethnic background that you can find. And I mean, I know we're going to talk about sports, but John brought up a good point, so we should talk about it. I mean, we should absolutely talk about it. These are conversations we did not have for so long. It led to having to have these conversations all at once. We didn't have these conversations. We got a phone call?
Yeah, but before we go to John, Bill, when I shot you that look, I think that part of people saying, okay, I get it, is because they truly do. The other part are people are very uncomfortable. And if they have to, if it's put in front of them, then they have to come to grips with the way they believe. And it's just an uncomfortable situation to be put in. So some of the people that say enough is enough, I get it, I don't want, you don't have to keep talking about it. I think they're the ones that, some do get it.
Sure.
But other ones, it's just really uncomfortable, and they don't want to be faced with it on a daily basis with, things in the end zone or T-shirts or billboards. They just go back to the way it was before. Stick your head in the ground and just hope that it all works out.
Sure. Hey, uncomfortable situations, honestly, are the only way that things get improved. They really are. Conversations about things that are hard to talk about, the only way that things move forward. It looks like we got Bill on the line. Bill, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir, Rick. I got 3 points. The first 2 I'll say, and then the last one I'll wait. As of today, the construction on the border wall ends, and, the doors are open for all the illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call it, to come in. How's that good for this country?
Okay, so you want me to respond to how's it good for the country?
Yeah.
Okay.
But COVID virus, and these people will be coming in, and we don't know if they're sick or not, and we really can't afford to have all these people coming in at this particular time. So that's 2 things Biden's done already, and what's great about that for this country.
Okay, Bill. Well, thank you for the call. I'm gonna respond here in.
Well, I have one other thing that's even
Okay,
that
let him go,
yeah.
and I'll address them real quick. Go ahead.
Okay. With the transsexuals, okay, there's this kid. He's a really good football player. He decides he wants to be a woman. He's good enough to get into the NFL. Do they let him in?
Okay. Well, all right. Like I said, we're up against a break, Bill, so I'll hang on and listen to the response I got. Thank you so much for the call. Yeah. We appreciate it, my friend. Yeah. So here's what I'll take these two things on in as swiftly as I can and as honestly as I can. How is stopping the border wall and letting more people into this country that are illegal good for the country? First, I don't know that it is good, but it will happen. And I don't think the wall would have stopped it anyway. So the construction of the wall being stopped, I'm all in favor of, because I think the wall was wasteful. A theoretical wall to vet people properly and protecting the border is absolutely of the utmost importance. However, people still get here whether you let them in or not. So what I think is probably closer to the middle of where things will end up is, yes, we're going to admit people into this country that probably are sick. They probably do have things that they're going to have to rely on the American government for. And yeah, it is going to weigh heavily financially on the United States. So can I tell you how is that a good thing? No, I can't. But what I can tell you is it's going to happen regardless. And I'd rather there be a process in place to get people vetted correctly into the country. But the wall, I think, was a wasteful thing. I don't think it was going to stop anybody. And I used the example the other day with Tolola. They climbed the wall at the U.S. Capitol. Walls didn't work to keep people out of a place they shouldn't be. So,
tunnel under it.
I was going to say, and you can go under it. If it's 10 feet tall and it's 10 feet into the ground, you go down 12 feet and you climb through a hole. So that I don't think matters. As far as the transgender part of it, I don't know what that's like, and I can't speak on the behalf of anybody who's transgender, because I just woke up as a dude when I was born on June 20th, 1977, and I just lived that way. So I don't know what it's like to be different, and I can't answer what that feels like. I'd have no clue. But what I can tell you is this. If the day comes where a transgender athlete is good enough to get into the NFL will welcome that 1,000% for two reasons. One, if they're a good enough football player, regardless of how they got there, they're going to play football. And the second one is the NFL is begging for the day that happens, because the NFL opens up a whole new door to the LBJ. I don't want to miss any of the letters because I know they changed and I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but to a whole new community that would support the NFL and buy that person's shirt. Make no bones about it. The NFL is here to sell you jerseys. They're here to sell you tickets. They're here to sell you sponsorships. That's what the NFL is for. So the day that happens, Bill, they will absolutely welcome it. What is it like in the locker room? What is it like for that person in a dressing room? I don't know the answers to those things because it hasn't happened. But what I can tell you is the day it does happen, the NFL is throwing a ticker tape financial parade in the main offices in New York City, selling that person's name and number on the back of a jersey. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take more of your phone calls. We'll get into some of the other things and some of the actual other sports stuff we wanted to talk about too. It's all happening right here on The Watchdog.
Island Pawnbrokers is now your local firearm dealer. In a pinch? Need cash quick? See us before going to the big box stores. Paying top dollar for firearms, gold, silver, tools, coins, and electronics. Don't lose your good credit. Let us give you instant cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Island Pawnbrokers. Stop in for instant cash.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island Light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island Light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Oh, there's something so real about living local. And I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at doanford.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
The weather will affect you every day, whether it's good or bad. The Storm Tracker 7 weather team is here to make sure you're never surprised. You can trust us to help you plan your day.
36 degrees here in Wheeling.
On TV, online, on your phone, our experienced meteorologists are here to help you prepare for what's ahead. Watch the Storm Tracker 7 weather team with Zach Petty, Aaron Myler, and me, Dr. Dave Walker. Weather coverage you can count on, working for you.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Magic for the Mountaineers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics.
Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans struggle with hunger? Yet more than 40% of the food we produce is thrown out. At Kroger, we know we can do something about this. We're donating more food to local food banks through our partnership with Feeding America. And we're working with World Wildlife Fund to end food waste. But we can't do it alone. And we hope you'll join us in creating a world with zero hunger and zero waste. Visit thekrogerco.com to learn how you can help.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on backyard favorites like grill-ready hamburgers and fresh-picked strawberries? Then shop at Kroger. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Kroger app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales. Plus, rewards like fuel points, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It was a big Monday that lived up to all of the billing. Number 10, Texas Tech. Number 11, West Virginia. And it came down to the final shot of the game. West Virginia, with Deuce McBride putting the Mountaineers up 88-87 with inside of 5 seconds to play. Texas Tech's Mac McClung comes down and misses a baseline jumper off rim as the horn sounds, as West Virginia rallies from 12 points down in the second half to score the victory 88-87. McBride was one of 6 Mountaineers to finish in double figures. He ended with 24 points, hitting 7 of 12 from the field, including 3 of 4 from three-point range. Other double-digit scores for West Virginia, both Jalen Bridges and Sean McNeil finished up with 13 points. Derek Culver, Jordan McCabe, and Taz Sherman each had 10, and 10 was the magic number for West Virginia. As the Mountaineers battled back, they made 10 shots in a row to end the game, 10 of 10 from the field, including 7 of 9 from the free throw line. West Virginia battling back. WVU looked to be in good shape in the first half, where they led by as many as 10 points, but by halftime, it was a tied game at 39. WVU shot the ball well throughout the course of the evening, ending the game at 57%, including 63% from three-point range. West Virginia ended the night hitting 12 three-pointers. Deuce McBride wins it on a layup, and West Virginia survives a last-second shot, 88-87, the final score. That is today's Mountaineer Report. It's brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
News, talk, sports, and rock is all right here, right now. Back to Real Big Talk with Big Rick on the Watchdog.
Welcome back, everybody. 341, I'm Big Rick, that's Lola. The sounds of Tom Petty. Won't lie, Lola and I almost let that whole thing play before we started talking. Boy, there's nothing better to sing along to.
I know.
Than a Tom. You could put on a Tom Petty record and walk out, and I will be happy as hell when you get back.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know, the one thing that music can do for everybody is get us all to shut up and sing.
Yep.
That music doesn't have to have a political affiliation, a color, an age, nothing. Just let's shut up and sing. And I can't tell you the last time a whole group of people got together, sang Tom Petty, and left miserable. I don't know that it ever happened.
I don't think so.
So when you start to get all riled up, shut up and sing Tom Petty.
Yep.
You'll all be in a much better place. Great calls today. Look, anything you want, no matter what we're talking about. I mean, if you want to talk about what we're talking about, that's great. If you want to talk about something different, that's okay too. 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600. This show and this station belong to you. That's why you're allowed to call. That's why we're here. That's why we're live and local. I mean, we're as live and local as Main Street America gets.
Well, we are on Main Street, so yeah,
Yes,
I
we are.
see that.
Yes, we are. We are on Main Street and happy to be here. Let's get to some of the sports stuff that we didn't get to before. But again, when calls come in and you want to chat, we'll chat. We'll push everything back. This show has a format, but it can be pushed. It can be pushed. Tonight, by the way, Martins Ferry at St. Clairsville, WVLY, Pittsburgh Penguin hockey against Boston right here on KKX. Speaking of music real quick, too, just we were talking about singing Tom Petty, also works with the Clarks. Sing along to the Clarks. Tomorrow we talk along with one of the Clarks. My buddy Greg Joseph from the Clarks will be calling in tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. He's going to start the show. So if you have questions for the Clarks and for Greg and want to talk about music with us, we certainly invite you to be a part of that conversation tomorrow with Greg. Here, let's get to the NFL stuff. Let's start. I have actually, your mind is going to be blown how I sew all of this together. I put it together, and I probably will blow it now that I overhyped it. But how I sew this sports bit together. Lola is a Lions fan. Stafford is definitely leaving the Lions. His house is up for sale, and it's pretty much, from what it's being said, a 3-team race. The Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos for the services of Matt Stafford. I would say Stafford best fits going to the Colts.
Yep.
Because they already have a team there, and he could really round out what they need. The Broncos are still players away, even with Stafford. I think he'd be in a similar situation, although slightly better with the Broncos maybe. But really, I don't know that they're that much ahead of where the Lions are. And the Patriots is kind of a wild card. The Patriots went 7-9 with Cam Newton, who has, I think, proven that he may no longer be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Certainly a very serviceable guy to have on your bench. He's a smart football player and capable, but I don't know, after what we saw last season, if he is still a starting quarterback. So, but the Patriots, I don't know, have all the pieces that the Colts have for Stafford.
I would be very concerned about, first of all, the legacy that he would be walking into. Do you really want to put yourself in that position? You walk in there, and it is Patriot Nation, and you've got Belichick. I don't know that that would be the ideal situation to walk into. I wouldn't want to do it.
It can be difficult, and I will say that's exactly how I felt for Cam Newton. You really want to be that guy. Well, it turns out, I mean, look, as much as I hate Belichick and the whole system there in the Patriot land, I will say this. Bill Belichick knew exactly what he was getting when he picked up Cam Newton. He was getting a guy to get through a gap year. And they had a 7-9 season, which means they didn't make the playoffs. They have a reasonable draft pick. They could pick a quarterback of the future if Stafford doesn't go that way. And they have an opportunity to rebuild without really going 3-13. I mean, there were some exciting moments for the Patriots. They had a couple big wins, actually. But what Belichick will do is much wiser than, say, what the Steelers will do. The Steelers next year could only, at best, I think, go 8-8, 9-7 if Ben Roethlisberger is their quarterback. And then he retires, and then you have another subpar or par season trying to go through the Mason Rudolph era, which probably won't work, and then you have to draft a quarterback. So long term, the Steelers may set themselves up for 3 more years of misery before it turns around. I think Belichick set himself up for 1, and that was 7-9 with Cam Newton. I think he's that smart. I do. I think he's that.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I think he's that smart. I think he knew Stafford would be available. Deshaun Watson could become available. I mean, really, we don't know if Aaron Rodgers isn't available to be traded, but Aaron Rodgers will go west if he is going to demand a trade out of Green Bay. So I think Belichick kind of knew that. I think he kind of knew that. And that's kind of where that sleeping dog lies. What it's going to take to get Stafford is unknown. I think that his best bet is to go to the Colts. And I think he's probably, not everybody could get Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is going to go where Deshaun Watson wants to go. I don't think that's a bidding war type thing for Deshaun Watson. I think he's going to go whatever city he selects and situation he selects, which is leaning towards the Jets. But I think Matthew Stafford probably doesn't have that same bargaining chip that Deshaun Watson has because Matthew Stafford has more mileage on the tires. So he's obviously a hot commodity, as 3 teams are desperate to get him, and he would fit other places. I mean, realistically, if he would be probably a good fit for the Steelers. He could throw the ball, and the Steelers have receivers to catch it, so he probably could be a good fit there. But it's not; they're not even in the mix for it. It's these 3 places Colts seem most likely. But if you ended up a Patriot, I wouldn't be stunned, because playing for Belichick does give you that certain confidence that this guy knows how to win. And I think that buffer year of Cam Newton maybe doesn't create. I think anybody who ever plays in a New England uniform is going to have to live up to, well, Tom Brady did this.
I know.
I mean, that's forever. That's for the next 25 to 50 years. Someone's going to go, but Tom Brady, we're never going to see that again. So someone has to take the job. You have a coach there that knows how to win. You have an owner in Robert Kraft that has no problem spending the money to win or getting the pieces that are necessary. When you think about it, Belichick traded a guy who was retired for a 3rd-round pick. I mean, Gronkowski wasn't going to come back and play, and he still managed to get a 3rd-rounder out of him. He's good at that. He's good at that. I brought up Robert Kraft, and this is where you're going to be amazed by my segues. Robert Kraft is going to have his, I don't want to call it a sex tape. It's not a sex tape. He got busted in a massage parlor, and it became a huge thing. This massage parlor in Jupiter, Florida, was a misdemeanor solicitation charge that he had. They were dropped last year after, they ruled that the videos were not admissible as evidence. Robert Kraft's wife died, and he went to a massage parlor. Now, I'm not advocating everybody does this. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, that is not a reason to make this guy fry. And I mean, people wanted it.
Oh, I know.
People wanted the end of Robert Kraft. You were canceling Robert Kraft because he enjoyed an afternoon at the spa. Now, we all know that he enjoyed more than an afternoon at the spa.
Is it any of our business?
It's no, well, that was the point. No, it's not our business, but the video does exist. The video does exist, and it is what it is as far as that goes. The video is actually going to be destroyed. The court ruled that it had to be destroyed so this would go away. Look, I'm sure Robert Kraft has the money to make any of this go away. And essentially, it did go away rather quickly. It was dismissed and whatever. But the videotape still exists. It has been ordered to be destroyed so Robert Kraft can move on with his life. Boy, the number of people out there that are happy to point fingers and go, this man is he's a menace to society. You know what? We've all done things that if they got caught. I didn't grow up in an era where video cameras were everywhere. And I'm sure I did things in my life.
Oh.
Yeah, if there were video cameras everywhere, homie probably don't have this job. I don't have this job. So I probably have done something that would make somebody so mad they'd want to cancel me. So, just because there was a videotape, it's being destroyed. Let the man move on. And I hate the Patriots, but seriously, that's just dude to dude. Let him move on. Let him move on.
This is chick to dude. Get over it.
Yeah. He also, by the way, just a side note on Robert Kraft. You do know one of his Super Bowl rings is missing, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. You know who has it?
No.
The leader of Russia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I knew that.
He took his Super Bowl ring. He's like, I mean, that's really amazing. That is really amazing. Robert Kraft down 1 Super Bowl ring, stolen by Russia. I'm sure somehow that's an international incident. We'll continue to this, and we'll get everybody involved here. Brady, Belichick, and Kraft. Tom Brady Sr., we mentioned this before. Your kids do not want you on Twitter. If they're good at something, stay off the interwebs, everyone. Well, Tom Brady Sr. couldn't resist. He was talking about, and the first time we've seen this, the relationship between Brady and Belichick appeared to be strained at the end of his time there.
Oh, yeah.
So the father of the now Buccaneers Super Bowl quarterback took a little shot at Bill Belichick in an interview with the Boston Herald. He says, "So I'm guessing he's a little bit on the hot seat, right? talking about Belichick. Of course, he's not. It was just kind of a subtle little shot. And the article goes on to say how Robert Kraft reached out to Tom Brady the night after winning the NFC Championship, wished him luck, and told him that he was rooting for him and whatever else. And the spectacular relationship that those two have is fantastic. Senior Brady did not mention Belichick in any way about the relationship that he has with Tom Brady. We've seen this a few times in the last couple of weeks. When your spouse or your parent, I mean, Patrick Mahomes' mom's the worst. She's the worst.
Well, he's still a baby. He's just a youngin'.
Well, he is, but he's also the richest quarterback in NFL history and on the verge of his second Super Bowl.
I know, but he's, in mom's terms, he is still a youngin'. He is still her baby, and all bets are off.
I don't think that helps him in the long run.
Maybe not, but it makes her feel better.
It probably does, but for Tom Brady Sr., he should have known better.
Well, yeah.
He should have known better.
How many years has he been dealing with this fame and fortune?
Well, yeah, over 20.
Yeah.
Over 20, 21 seasons of...
Daddy, be quiet.
Yeah, just stop. Yeah. Just stop. You have everything that you could ever want. And if you feel like Bill Belichick did wrong by your son in some way, shape, or form, just go to the family vault and check out the big bank, the Super Bowl rings, and every accolade that you can look at. And realize that Belichick may not be the nicest guy. He may be a guy you hate, and you're allowed to hate him. You don't have to like him. But just shut up, because you're not doing your kid any favors.
I'm sure they have had more than enough backyard barbecues where he could personally say something to him that would not get out on the internet.
Yeah, well, this was right in the Boston Herald, and of course the Herald shared the story, and there you go. I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems like you're well past this. The legacy of Tom Brady, I'll say it right here, write it down. The legacy of Tom Brady is much bigger than the legacy of the New England Patriots. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, of course it is.
And what he's about to do next week, whether it works out in his favor or not, is still the most incredible football career we've ever seen. At the end of the day, the Patriots will return to real life, and someday Tom Brady will retire when he's like 57, probably. But, I mean, at 43, the guy's doing something. I mean, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I couldn't even walk into the stadium for the Super Bowl. He's playing in it. So the difference is of Tom Brady's legacy is much larger than the Patriots. Just leave him alone. Someday, if you want to write the tell-all book and talk about the relationship, fine, but not now. Not leading into the Super Bowl, not at the end of the season. Tell it later. Plus, there's going to be a Tom Brady day someday in New England. I'm sure it will be an early September game because he's not going to go back there ever when it's cold. But I would imagine someday there would be, and just let it happen. It's none of your business. It's absolutely none of your business. Parents, stay out of your kids' success. Not social media. If you're a parent, make sure your kids are doing the right things on social media. I get all that. But Tom Brady's a 43-year-old man. He's a 43-year-old man.
He knows how to use his own Twitter.
Yeah, he's doing fine. Yeah, Tom Brady's doing fine.
He's got his wife. I'm sure she
makes more money than he does.
Well, and I'm sure she really does keep check on everything that is coming out of his social media.
Oh,
Giselle is nobody to mess with.
No. Think about this. Tom Brady and Giselle could get divorced, and he could file for spousal support against her.
I know.
Mind blown.
Yep.
Mind blown. Wrap up this sports segment with a couple of other little news and notes. Conor McGregor is going to have to sit out at least 180 days post-fight for injuries sustained. That's because I guess the UFC has a limit on how long you have to stay out if you sustain certain injuries. One of that leg injury that he took on, I think, is a 120-day injury. His leg is a mess. In fact, there are pictures and video that has surfaced of him walking out of that fight with a cane. So he looks to be in bad shape, although fights will still go on. Remember that YouTube sensation guy, Jake Paul,
Yeah.
who actually is from Cleveland, by the way, just to keep it regional. He wanted to fight Conor McGregor, offered him $50 million of his own dollars to fight him. Conor McGregor really he just kind of laughed it off. Probably should have taken that $50 million fight, by the way. But he just kind of laughed it off. That's not going to happen. And just to wrap this up, speaking of Conor McGregor, Lola, do you even want to venture a guess of what Conor McGregor made per second in that fight?
Millions.
Per second, Conor McGregor made $55,000 per second.
You know, that's a pretty healthy paycheck.
Yeah, I would.
You know, I give me 20 seconds. You can knock me across that thing. Just pay me that, and I am good to go.
That was always the locker room talk. Like, I'd let Mike Tyson beat me up for X number of. You wouldn't live. You wouldn't live now against Mike Tyson. But yeah, that's the idea. $55,000 per second for that fight for Conor McGregor from the other night. And just to give you a total picture of it, Conor McGregor is, by the time it's all said and done, going to walk away with about $20 million for a round and a half of work to lose.
And he can take that 20 mil and recoup over how long does he have to stay out?
180 days.
Okay. You know, he's sitting on some private island somewhere. Hey, it's worth it to me.
Also has his own bourbon company too, so he's doing just fine. We'll get back into the other top stories of the day. This is The Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Center.
All introducing that motion, calling the impeachment trial unconstitutional.
This proceeding, which would try a private citizen and not a president, a vice president, or civil officer, violates the Constitution and is not in order.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says constitutional lawyers in prior cases do allow for it.
The theory that the impeachment of a former official is unconstitutional is flat out wrong by every frame of analysis. Constitutional context, historical practice, precedent, and basic common sense.
The vote failed 55-45, which also signals the challenges House managers will face in trying to get a vote to convict. Vice President Kamala Harris receiving her second shot of the COVID vaccine today at the National Institutes of Health. Earlier, she performed a swearing-in ceremony for Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Yellen, now the first woman to lead the department. And another key member of the president's cabinet confirmed today.
President Biden's Secretary of State nominee Tony Blinken confirmed with a final vote of 78-22. Several Republican leaders, including Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and Jim Risch, the outgoing GOP chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, voting in favor. Risch writing, quote, Mr. Blinken has a long and distinguished history when it comes to statecraft and foreign relations matter. Certainly, he is very qualified for this job. End quote. Rising stars in the Republican Party like Josh Hawley and Tom Cotton voted against his nomination. Inez Deliquatera, ABC News, Washington.
In Atlanta today, a private memorial for Hank Aaron, the Hall of Famer, Braves player, and longtime home run king, died last week at the age of 86. Atlanta Braves star Freddie Freeman called him a legend. A private funeral takes place tomorrow. You're listening to ABC News.
It's such a beautiful night. Look at the stars.
They're amazing. Did you know 20% of stars have planets orbiting them capable of sustaining life?
How did you know that? You must spend a ton of time reading.
Not at all. I use Blinkist.
Blinkist?
Yeah, it's an app that takes key insights from over 4,000 nonfiction bestsellers and gathers them into 15-minute blinks for you to read or listen to. With Blinkist, you can learn the main points of an entire book in just 15 minutes, as opposed to days or weeks.
What kind of books?
Nonfiction books in over 27 categories, from personal development to history, management, investing, philosophy, and more. Books like A Beautiful Mind, The 4-Hour Workweek, Freakonomics, and Sapiens. Blinkist makes it easy to learn about pretty much anything.
Like the stars?
Even the stars.
Right now, radio listeners get 25% off, plus 1 free week when you go to Blinkist.com/brain. To get this special offer, go to Blinkist.com/brain. That's BLINKIST.com/BRAIN.
In the UK, another dire COVID milestone.
Speaking at a televised news conference, a somber Prime Minister Boris Johnson said
it's hard to compute the sorrow contained in that grim statistic.
It's an appalling and tragic loss of life, and there's no question about it. And all we can do now is work together with the tools that we have.
Britain is the 5th country in the world to record 100,000 virus-related deaths after the US, Brazil, India, and Mexico. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
500 million fewer passengers flew in 2020 compared to the year before that, but a higher percentage were carrying guns.
Even though airports were nearly empty at times in 2020, the TSA says it caught more guns than ever before in its 19-year history as an agency, finding over 3,200 guns and carry-on bags as passengers went through airport checkpoints last year. 83% of the guns were loaded. The most were found at Hartsfield Jackson in Atlanta, followed by Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston George Bush, Phoenix Sky Harbor, and in Denver. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A rise in air pollution is linked to an increased risk of an irreversible loss of sight. British researchers say that's what they found. Even low exposure to air pollution appears to impact the risk of age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. This is ABC News.
With the new president, so much is happening in Washington. Now, millions are turning to Newsmax TV, your trusted news source. They're going online to Newsmax.com for breaking news and downloading the free Newsmax app on their smartphones. Newsmax TV is on all major cable systems. If you don't get Newsmax, call your cable operator or watch it free on Roku, YouTube, Apple TV, Xumo, Pluto, and smart TVs like Samsung and LG. Newsmax is real news for real people. Start watching today.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy! Yeah. You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through February 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. After a few scattered rain showers, just mostly cloudy through the afternoon, a daytime high near 48. Your overnight low of 28 degrees under mainly cloudy skies. Mostly cloudy skies for your Wednesday with highs in the low to mid 30s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. He's not your father's talk show host, but your dad can listen too. Real Talk is right here, right here. Real Big Talk with Big Rick is on the Watchdog.
Mississippi Queen, if you know what I mean. Mississippi Queen, she taught me everything. Went down around Vicksburg, around Louisiana way. Lived a Cajun lady, called her Mississippi Queen. You know she was a dancer. She moved better all white while the rest of them dudes was getting naked. But I beg your pardon, I was getting mine. Mississippi Queen.
Welcome back to Real Big Talk. I'm Big Rick. Lola's here. Mountains blaring. It's 4:10 on a Tuesday. Here for all of those things. Boy, the way that song starts is just such a wake up. I mean, it's just shreddy riff, boom, Mississippi Queen. You don't have to wonder what that song is about. Sometimes people like to climb into their own musical heads, and I'm going to sit here and pick apart what these lyrics mean to me. And sometimes you get Mississippi Queen right out the gate, right in your face. Sounds great. Leslie West. Being a current events-based program, there are tons of current events. So I have a few here. They don't all necessarily weave together. A lot of them are government-related. But let's start first talking about money. Now, I think a lot of times when we see things like tax cuts, regardless of where you see it, regardless of your favorite news source, when you see tax cuts, you either think, ooh, I don't have to pay as much in taxes, or, what is that going to cost me down the road? Well, just know, you never pay less. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. You may pay differently. You may pay more over here and less over here. But the government's going to get their taste. That's how the government works. That's how the government gets paid. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. When you're sitting there concerned about stimulus money coming back to you, I think we all agree that this crazy amount of foreign aid that no one understands or knows how it got there, we all, I think, are on the same page about how we feel about that, and that it's somebody's got some splaining to do. I don't understand. But when the money comes back to you, when you get that $600 check, or perhaps this $1,400 check, or the $800 check you got originally, was it $800 the first one? I think $600.
Yes.
So the first one was $600. So when you get that,
No, wait.
or was it $1,000? $1,200. It was $1,200. It was $1,200.
The very first one,
Yeah,
then
but-
600 now. We're all holding our breath for 14.
Yeah, so when you get that money back, you're getting it back. It's a refund. It's not a handout. It's a refund. But this blew my mind when I read this story. Now, again, you would have to be an economist and a pretty sharp numbers person, and I'm not that guy. But this headline caught my eye, so I read the story, and it was worth sharing with you guys. According to economist Robert Reich, and this was in Forbes magazine if you want to check it out. Forbes.com will take you right to this story if you want to dig real deep into it. The U.S. could give $1,875 stimulus checks for 8 months for the same cost as the 2017 Trump tax cuts. Most of us can't process what that number would be. I mean, we can't. I can't. I can't. What I can do is just like anybody else can do. I can go ahead and I can plug 1875 into my calculator, multiply it by 8, and come up with the number of $15,000. You could have had $15,000 over the course of 8 months in stimulus payments for the amount of money as the Trump 2017 tax cuts. Basically, what I would encourage you to do, if you are interested in this subject enough, is I would absolutely go read this article because it does make a lot of interesting points, and I don't know how valid they are because I'm not an economist. I can't imagine getting $15,000 back in 8 months from the government. I can't imagine it. But if that's the case, you have to follow the money. Who benefited the most from those tax cuts? That's where you got to look. That's where you got to look. So as we're bickering about pennies on the dollar compared to that, I'm just saying there's probably better ways. There's probably better ways. Do I think that's outrageous? Yes, I think it's absolutely outrageous. Nobody likes paying taxes, at least if you do like it, you're a different breed than I. But I can't imagine getting that money back from the government. I can't imagine getting $15,000 over 8 months. But there's a lot of validity to the idea of where did that money from those tax cuts go and who benefited the most from it. You really want to find out why getting another $1,400 back may or may not be the best or worst case scenario for America? I encourage you to read that article. Forbes.com, get you there. Guy seems like he knows what he's doing. But then again, I've been snowed before. Other things. Ted Cruz. Just listen before you get mad. 304
You heard me groan.
I did. 304-214-1600 is the number. 304-214-1600 is the number. Sounds like Lowell is ready to fight me just when I say Ted Cruz. I know. Look, he's frustrating. I think, the most frustrating thing for me about Ted Cruz is, because again, I have no problem with people who have differences in opinions, and some of the things he does, I was like, okay, I get that, and some of the things I'm just like, this is ridiculous. The thing that I dislike the most about Ted Cruz is the fact that he let Donald Trump insult his wife.
Yep.
And
his father, and his mother.
And then basically just did everything that Trump told him to do.
Yep.
I can't say what I was really thinking there.
No,
but
you can't.
No. Mm-hmm. No. But to me, that goes to show what kind of person you are. This isn't about being a man. This isn't about puffing out your chest. I mean, well, you know what? It kind of.
Dare I say it? It's pandering.
Yeah, it is. It's pandering.
Yes.
If somebody made fun of my wife, I certainly would not take the actions that Ted Cruz took. So that's really my biggest problem with him. But this I agree with. Senator Ted Cruz introduces congressional term limits amendment. I can agree with that.
I can too.
I absolutely can agree with that.
Although, I must say, my mother always said, why do you have to put term limits in? We have them built into the system already. You don't like somebody, you vote them out.
That's true, but we're not doing that.
No, I understand.
That's the problem. We're not doing that. For everybody that's mad Joe Biden is the president, he spent 47 years in politics before he got to be the president. I mean, in West Virginia, we're familiar with someone who spent longer than that in politics. But still, that to me is a problem. It to me is a problem. But here is how it goes. The legislation calls for a constitutional amendment that, if ratified, would bar senators from serving more than 2 6-year terms and members of the House from serving more than 3 2-year terms. I'm here for it.
Don't have a problem with that.
Here for it.
I've been saying all along there should actually be that you can't be in there more than 6 years. And it should be a 6-year chunk, because we all know that the first year you're getting your feet wet. The second year you're finally getting to introduce some legislation. And then you have to start running again. And it's just ridiculous. So if you have 6-year terms, that gives you time to get your feet wet, get legislation out on the floor, and work all the deals that you have. And let's face it, that's what politics is.
Sure.
Working the deals. And then you're done. You no longer have this vested interest in having to raise money, re-campaign, all that kind of stuff, and you're not pandering to any group that got you elected.
No, but what you will become ultimately down the road is a lobbyist.
Well, that's all right. You know, they got to make money somehow.
Exactly. I'd rather you make your money as a lobbyist than make your money as a sitting senator or a sitting rep who is continuously funded by big corporations. Make money as a lobbyist, because lobbyist is an actual job.
And it's needed.
Yeah, and it's needed. Public service and being an elected official is also a job, but should not be funded corporately. Do we have a phone call?
Yes, we do. It's Tom.
Okay. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Rick. If the voters are controlling term limits, what's Nancy Pelosi's excuse? How long has she been there?
Well, that's I think the problem altogether, Tom, is they're all there too long. And I'll play both sides of this. As much as I want to see term limits, I also don't want to see someone like AOC, who I'm just not a fan of. I don't want to see AOC as a career politician, because that helps no one.
Hey, she was a bartender for a year and a half before she became. She's got plenty of experience now. Don't go getting on her.
Well, I mean, in all fairness to her, I mean, Donald Trump wasn't a politician before he became president. Yeah. I mean, he used politics to build what he built, but he was not a career politician.
I think Rand Paul needs to have like a shop course. You know, you need to spend like 3 weeks in the Rand Paul school of thought before you even attempt to even go there. Once you do get elected, that's just my opinion. Or Ron Paul's not doing anything. I think he was brighter than most people put together. Ron Paul delivered like 2,600 babies and got paid with chickens and corn and carrots and stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, Rand Paul. I mean, again, you can.
Ron Paul did. Yeah.
Oh, Ron Paul. Yeah, Rand Paul. Actually, you want to talk about someone who's
eye doctor?
Incredibly intelligent. The guy is an eye surgeon.
When Reed's exercise machine blew up and about knocked his eye out, I think Rand Paul went and tried to help him out somewhat and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there are smart people all up and down the political fence.
Hey, let me get something straight.
Sure.
Say that again. The tax cuts would have gave $1,800 for 15 months, or how'd that work?
Sure. If you just joined the program, talked about this a few minutes ago, and I encourage anybody who's really interested in how that breaks down to check this out at Forbes.com. This came from Forbes magazine. This is economist Robert Reich, who said...
Oh, Robert, yeah, I've seen him on plenty of times.
Yeah,
I know.
What he said was the U.S. could give $1,875 a month in stimulus checks for 8 months for the same exact cost as the 2017 Trump tax cuts.
So, who would be the receivers, though? The people that needed unemployment, or the people who are already working? Or,
everyone, everyone that was eligible for a stimulus check. Like, did you get a stimulus check?
Yeah.
That you would be one of the people.
No, I know. However, I know people that make $42,000 a year in retirement, and they got a stimulus check, and they were going back. We had a banter a couple weeks ago whether he was going to get $600 or $2,000. I was like, Rich, do you really need $2,000? Seriously, would $2,000 help you, or the lady who's going to lose her house or her apartment hasn't worked in 6 months? I mean, and that's the only thing that disturbs me about the whole thing is they should have. Somebody has to have some idea of who actually should receive the money, and the people that don't need it all. Heck, with the Wheeling Diocese got like $2 million. I don't know. From the last time I checked, they never paid money into taxes, and they're worth like $230 million from oil money.
Well, let's break some of this down. PPP loans are different than stimulus checks. So you can't roll them, even though they're part of the same operation to stimulate the economy and keep people afloat.
Yeah.
They are different because a Catholic Church does employ people, so there are employees involved in that. Yeah, so they're not necessarily the blanket the same thing.
But do you think people who are retired, they never missed a beat, they continue to receive money? Do you think that they should have got any money at all?
Yes.
Lola's got her hand up.
Yes, Tom, because I have worked. First of all, I'm on Social Security. I work almost full time. I don't make a whole lot of money anyway. And if you want to just give it to people that are laid off and scrambling to pay their bills, that's exactly what that stimulus money is going to go to. It's going to pay utility bills, it's going to pay grocery bills. But if you want to stimulate the economy, you need to spread it out, because there would be some extra money that I would feel free then to go out and spend and put back into the economy. That's why you need it to go to everybody, not targeted.
Two-thirds of the people, I'm saying, really didn't even notice it. They just have that much more money in their bank account, and we're going to end up spending 50 years paying this money back at some point. Nobody's ever going to pay the debt back. But did you hear California lost $11 billion because nobody's got their hand on the switch? It's just and Steve Mnuchin and all his ilk are the people that just says, let's just give everybody all this money. Who cares where it goes?
Yeah,
I
think
$11 billion. First I said, they said $11 million, and I heard it the next time. No, they said $11 billion. Who knows where this money went? I mean, seriously, don't you? I mean, come on. There's got to be some kind of a valve on it.
Well, let me.
Steve Mnuchin is the wrong guy. He's the foreclosure king.
Let's break some of this down, and we're actually going to get ready to go to a break. Thanks, Tom. We'll talk about what you just said. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
Bye, Tom.
Have a good one, Tom. Yes. A few things here, and again, your radio station. You call. You got questions? You call 304-214-1600. Okay. Let's talk about exactly that. Like Lola said, the money goes to stimulate the economy. In some cases, it goes to dire need. To grocery bills to keep the lights on and things like that. He used somebody as an example who makes $42,000 in retirement. And again, I'm not an economist, but I'm a guy who knows enough to know $42,000 in retirement for Wheeling, West Virginia is okay. You're good. You're good to go. You can live in Wheeling. Maybe and does he own his house? Does he live in a condo? I mean, there's a lot of factors. But the bottom line is this: if someone retired, they have paid into taxes
all their
lives. And I have zero issue if someone's sitting there with their feet up and they're retired because they earned it, and $2,000 extra dollars, $1,200 extra dollars, $600 extra dollars slides into their account. Do I have a problem with that? Hell no, I don't. Because they may take that money, maybe they go buy a fishing boat. Maybe they go to Cabela's and buy a fishing boat. That's great. Go there. You buy your boat because you just bought a boat. Maybe they go eat at DeCarlo's and they buy an $8 pizza. Good. Those are the types of things that have to bring back the economy. Now, Tom is right. Where is the shutoff valve? How much of this will our future generations be paying back? Well, you know what? I don't think there's any way to know the answer because we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how businesses are going to look when they open back up. But I know they're not going to open back up if people don't support them while they're dying. Right. And that's the point. The point is, take that $600, go to the local sporting goods store, and buy yourself a new fishing rod. And I don't know why all of a sudden I want to go fishing, but everything. Whether it's the local sporting goods store, whether you go up to the Bridge Tavern and buy yourself a burger, all these things enter into the pot that opens up the job for people to go back to and survive on their own. So the long-term answer is I have no idea, neither does anybody else. And Mnuchin and anybody else can say what they want about any amount of money that we're giving out or not giving out, or we're just, where's the valve? the valve stays on or needs to stay on in some capacity. I'm not advocating to send $80 billion to gender reassignment in a different country. What I'm advocating is to keep businesses alive enough to bring in workers, because not every business is Target, Walmart, Home Depot. They're not every business is that. Those businesses, and the argument I've seen 1,000 times is, there's work out there if you want to go to Target, go to Walmart, work. Home Depot can't hire enough people. I get that. But as someone who lost their job during this entire situation, as a guy who can use his voice, as a guy who can write a promo, as a guy who can do marketing and sell your product, that wasn't what I had a skill at. I went to school, I got educated. Then I took jobs that gave me experience. And I'm very happy that the job that I'm doing now came into my life when it did. Because if not, I would also still be sitting there waiting for a marketing job that may or may not come for 6 to 8 more months. I didn't have that problem, thank God. But it took me 9 months to get this job. So when you look at when, how much, nobody knows. But if we don't stimulate the economy now, the businesses that could open back up and bring back their 2 full-time employees and their 2 part-time employees, the local shop, they won't be there. They won't be there. So you're going to have more dependence on more aid. They won't call it stimulus when the pandemic is over necessarily. They won't call it stimulus aid, but it's still going to be unemployment. It's still going to be benefits for people that need help. Because if their part-time job at West Banco Arena doesn't come back and they're used to making that extra couple $100 a month selling cotton candy, and there's no West Banco Arena events, well, that's part of their income. And then somebody's going to make that up. So yeah, if we don't stimulate the economy now with people that don't necessarily need $2,000 extra to go buy fishing boats and fishing rods at the local store, well, then there's not going to be any store for those people to go back to work to. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, but right now, you can't turn it off. Or we won't, not only will we not have Main Street America left, we'll have more people ultimately end up needing benefits month to month if we don't stimulate the economy now, which we look to be, I would say, in the final third of the pandemic. We're not at the end. Maybe we're in the final third, if you want to slice this up, or the fourth quarter maybe is the best way. Fourth quarter, we'll look at it like a football game and not a hockey game. But if we're in the fourth quarter of the pandemic, and it's just the start of the fourth quarter, now is the time that those businesses have to start looking at their reopening plan. And how are they going to bring back 4 people when they only have enough money to bring back 1? Those other 3 people are going to end up on unemployment long term. Stimulate the economy. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with some different, fun, weird news. Also, take your phone calls in the final 20 minutes. 304-214-1600. This is The Watchdog.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with 1 owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with 1 owner. Hurry to Jim
Frio Stack and Associates auctioneers, realtors, certified appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
For all
all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The State Department of Health and Human Resources is today reporting 43,648 residents have been fully vaccinated in the Mountain State. COVID-19 related hospitalizations are down once again in West Virginia, now at 582, one of the lowest numbers in the past 2 months. State coronavirus czar Dr. Claymore says it helps that older residents are being vaccinated, keeping them out of the hospital.
People over 70 years old account for 77.5% of our deaths, and we know that that's a group that really does require, more hospital support and has more severe manifestations.
Charleston Area Medical Center, one of the state's largest hospitals, is today reporting 85 adult and 1 child COVID-19 patients. A ruling will be coming this hour from Kanawha County Circuit Judge Kerry Webster in that legal battle from the state's largest teachers unions in connection with in-person instruction returning to schools across the state as the pandemic continues. She's held a couple-hour court hearing this afternoon. A ruling expected. We'll have it at wvmetronews.com. The Clarksburg VA Hospital says it's taken numerous steps during the past month to improve patient safety. The hospital had a safety stand-down in response to the investigation into the murders of several veterans over the last few years. Former nursing assistant Rita Mays has pleaded guilty to the murders. They reopened part of the hospital today. More at our website. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Painful, late-term abortions, up until the moment of birth, paid for by your hard-earned tax dollars. Packing the Supreme Court with pro-abortion liberals who have no regard for innocent life. That's the extreme agenda of Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. Our pro-life values are under attack, and the stakes have never been higher. The Senate filibuster is the only thing standing between us and the pro-abortion agenda of the Washington liberals. Thankfully, Senator Joe Manchin is standing strong for life and protecting the filibuster and the Supreme Court from the abortion extremists. Senator Manchin is leading with courage and resolve, and he deserves our support. Call Joe Manchin today at 202-224-3954. Tell him to keep protecting the filibuster. Tell him thank you for defending our pro-life West Virginia values. Paid for by Susan B. Anthony List.
A report following a legislative audit of a business investment program the state started about 20 years ago shows a lot of money was loaned out, but not many jobs created. Metro News statewide correspondent Brad McElhaney has taken a look at that report, focusing on the venture capital investment program. He writes about it right now at WVMetronews.com. Also, the latest at our website this afternoon about WVU's big come-from-behind victory against Texas Tech last night. New story up this hour. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
He can talk up and down Route 2 and Route 7 at the same time. Just ask him. Keeping it real for your ride home. It's Real Big Talk with Big Rick on The Watchdog.
Wait a second, man. What do you think the teacher's gonna look like this year?
Van Halen. This is the Watchdog. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. And today is Eddie Van Halen's birthday. Man, Eddie Van Halen would have been 62, by the way. I know.
It's just sad. It saddens me.
Well, the fact that Eddie Van Halen's not alive anymore is sad, and he's not making music or touring anymore is sad. I will say this, though. I'm not going to go too far down the Van Halen path. Eddie Van Halen will always, when it comes to this job for me, will always have a special meaning. That was one of the first, second, third shows that I filled in here. And in that afternoon that Eddie Van Halen's death was announced, you and I went for a half hour just talking about Eddie Van Halen and the accomplishments of Van Halen. And as much as I hated to have to talk about him not being alive anymore, it was just kind of honestly, that's what gets my juices flowing about being on the radio, and always has over the years, when you can talk to people and directly connect with them on something that matters. Eddie Van Halen, especially in the rock world, was at the top of the heap. And being able to immediately be in a position to turn on a microphone and talk about the life and times of Eddie Van Halen was very cathartic for me that day. And then, of course, we had his son Wolfgang on, which was pretty special, just talking about Eddie and his legacy and what he meant to rock and roll and what he was like as a dad. I thought those were very special moments that I'm glad that we got to share with all of you, because they were, they were meaningful to me. They were meaningful to me, and I'm glad that I could share them with other people. This another special birthday today. Luckily, this gentleman is still alive and kicking and killing it. The great one, Wayne Gretzky.
Yes, I saw that. Another one that makes me go, oh, no.
Yes, the great one is 60 years old, and 1 year ago and 1 day, I met the great one.
Did you?
I did. I was at the NHL All-Star game in St. Louis. One of my best friends in the world lives in St. Louis, and I had just come back from Florida after living there and doing morning radio there. And I was bummed because I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I kind of found myself in a strange position of, here I am, not on the radio anymore. And he said, why don't you come out for the weekend? We'll go to the All-Star game. So we did that, and in the process of being at the NHL All-Star game, we went to the Fan Fest, and we found ourselves in the right place at the right time and had an audience, although be it very brief, we had an audience with the great one, and I'll show you the picture. It was pretty awesome. There have only been a few times in my life where my doors have been blown off by who I'm standing next to. B.B. King was one of them. Tiger Woods has a different aura about him. Just seeing Tiger Woods in the flesh is a magnificent feeling.
He's a lot bigger than he looks, isn't he?
It's not even just that. Yes, he is a lot bigger than he looks. There's just an aura, a glow, an undescribable thing about being in a room with someone the whole world looks at as the greatest at what they do. He didn't have to be the greatest person. You watch that documentary, that is mind-blowing. We'll talk about that one day, too, the Tiger Woods documentary that's out now. But there is just something about being near the greatest people to do what they do. Argue with me that B.B. King isn't one of the best blues players in the history of ever. The other living one and still with us is probably Buddy Guy. But outside of that, B.B. King probably did it at the highest level that you could do it at. John Lee Hooker and a few others are in that category. But B.B. King was the one I got to meet, and it was special. When you're next to Wayne Gretzky, you take a moment, and you're only there for a few moments. You don't get to spend a lot of time with Gretz unless you know him, but you're Wayne Gretzky. And I grew up watching Mario Lemieux, and I've been near Mario Lemieux, and as much of an incredible feeling as that is, I feel like I know Mario Lemieux more so because I spent my whole life growing up playing hockey in Pittsburgh. And I don't know him, but I know more about him because he's just been in Pittsburgh my whole life, and so have I. When you stand next to Wayne Gretzky and you're like, you're the great one. There's a reason they call him the great one. And it is an unbelievable feeling.
You know who amazed me was Megatron.
Calvin Johnson.
I don't know why. I just always envisioned him as massive. And then when I was down on the field with him and he had his shoulder pads off and, so he was half naked. He wasn't as big as I thought he would be.
He's tall.
He's I mean, he's big, but, I just, in my mind, he had been just bigger than life.
Sure. Sure.
He really is good looking.
I saw him play against WVU in Jacksonville in the bowl game when he was playing for Georgia Tech. And he was certainly impressive then, was an impressive player. You have to wonder if he had a better team around him.
Again.
In Detroit. Barry Sanders is the poster child for I'm walking away from this noise. I think Megatron did the same thing. But yeah, there are people out there in your life.
Matthew too.
Yeah, that you're just like, I'm awestruck.
Yeah.
And I've been near a lot of cool people, and I'm not saying that to sound cooler than I am. All I'm saying is I've met and been fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time through whether it's my job or whatever. I mean, that's usually how things like that come about. Wayne Gretzky had nothing to do with my job. It was just I was in the right place at the right time.
Joe Theismann is the one that literally I just got tongue-tied. Nothing came out.
Yeah.
And I had to get saved. But yeah, Joe Theismann was another one.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some people that'll blow your doors off, and certainly Wayne Gretzky was one of them. I saw this story on WTRF. I'm going to have to ask Aaron about this tomorrow as well, just because I thought it was a wonderful story. If possible, I would like to I would like to spend more time investigating all of this, but worth a mention. It's over on WTRF's website. You want to talk about people that blow your doors off? You don't have to be famous to do that. 7-year-old local boy named TJ Majors ended up giving his coat to another young man because that young fellow was cold. Yeah.
Gives you faith in humanity.
It gives
and
me
in
faith.
the future.
Yeah, it gives me, I was going to say, it gives me faith in humanity and faith in the future. What a lovely story. We don't do that enough. We don't do that enough. And I get it. I get it. Some people don't have an extra coat. Some people don't have as much as someone else. Some people are afraid to approach other people when they see them needing help. And I think that's really the terrible thing. Yeah. Sometimes we're just afraid to talk to each other. And I get the fear. I do. I mean, there's part of me that gets the fear. We live in a strange world with strange people. But you know what? We're all strange. You're strange. I'm strange. We're all strange in some way to someone. If you see
what are you trying to say?
I'm saying what I'm saying, Lola. I'm saying what I'm saying. We're all strange. But if you see somebody that's cold and you got an old coat, give it to them. Well, it'd make a huge difference in the world. It'd make a huge difference in the world. That's over at WTRF. I hope, with school being as up in air and back and forth as it, I hope the school does something for them. Teach a whole school of kids. If you need help, it's out there. If you can't help, do it. It's a simple lesson. Can be summed up in one sentence. But would probably do everybody some good just to read that nice little story. Talking about today in birthdays, we also have to acknowledge the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. Kobe is a lightning rod to talk about, and in the world of pop culture, Kobe Bryant is enormous. And of course, Kobe Bryant's life wasn't squeaky clean, but that doesn't take away from his accomplishments as an athlete. Or the way he seemingly, and I don't know him either, but the way he seemingly turned his life from a pretty high-profile incident. I don't want to go there because there's no reason to disparage the dead. But he turned his life from a pretty difficult situation into being a pretty good human being, an incredible basketball player, and what looked to be a pretty dedicated father.
Yeah.
I mean, as sad as it is that Kobe's gone, he was gone, taken, while taking his daughter to play in a basketball league he created to help other kids be better basketball players. That's a good thing. That's a good thing that he did. And it's a terrible thing that he was lost that day. But he created this basketball league. And it sounds like he positively influenced a lot of young people to be better people and better basketball players. I was, again, this was the day after I met Wayne Gretzky, so I was still in St. Louis. And my friend and I were running out to get breakfast. And we had on sports radio in St. Louis there. And when that story broke, I'm like, this can't be. This can't be. I mean, taken with a grain of salt, this is the sports equivalent of where were you when JFK got shot? I wasn't alive, so I don't know the feeling of that. But this is kind of the sports equivalent to when Kobe Bryant's helicopter, where were you when you heard about that? And every year for the rest of my life, probably, when this day comes up, I'll probably think about it. It was shocking. It was earth-shattering. And the way it was handled post-crash was terrible. There are photos. I don't want to see, I never looked at them, and I don't want to see them. What good does that do you? Well, yesterday you played Dirty Laundry from Don Henley as one of our bump songs. The handling of Kobe Bryant's death and that helicopter crash is the equivalent of the song Dirty Laundry by Don Henley.
If it bleeds, it leads.
If it bleeds, it leads.
That's the mantra.
That's terrible because at the end of
Yes,
the day,
it is.
whether you liked him as a basketball player, thought he was a good or bad man, doesn't matter. He was still a human being with a child and other children on board of an aircraft that crashed.
That's the one thing. Everybody forgets about the other 7 people that were on there. It was dads and daughters and mothers. You know, it's all about, and I'm not negating Kobe and his daughter, but there were other people there.
Yeah. Yeah, there were. And one of them was I think a pretty well-known up-and-coming baseball coach as well.
Yeah.
With his daughter. So I mean, there are other people, and the way that's handled. Had he not been on that aircraft, it would have still been handled poorly. People would have still been taking pictures of a crashed helicopter. And pictures are one thing because news is news. But the fact that Kobe was on there and the fact they're trying to get in to take the pictures, it does. It reminds you the song "Dirty Laundry" from Don Henley, and I just thought about that because we played it yesterday. So Bernie Sanders memes seem to be dying down a bit.
Aw.
There were so many so fast. So many Bernies, so many places, and so fast. It does seem like it is slowing down a little bit on the Sanders front. But this is pretty cool. A woman she actually crocheted, and that's a talent all of its own. That is a talent all of its own. I mean, you think about little old grandmas making.
If you can't knit, you crochet.
Yeah,
and that's what I do is crochet.
Yeah, I mean that's not my thing. I don't know how to do it. Just a funny side note: when I was in high school, I would come home from playing hockey, and I would be just jacked, wired. I couldn't. The shower didn't work. Just taking a Tylenol didn't work. I was just like still amped up. So my doctor recommended to me that I get a hobby like crochet or knit because it was just something you could do, keep your hands busy, and calms you down. I couldn't do either one of them, so my mom bought me a giant trout latch hook. Like latch hook is the equivalent for people who can't do anything.
You
like
make
knit or
pot holders.
Yeah, you make pot holders. Mine was a trout, and it was the size of this radio desk, and I found it a couple of years ago when I moved, and it's pretty good. But
Did you not make a rug out of it? You were supposed to make a rug out of it.
It still could be made into a rug.
Yeah, put a backing on it.
Yeah, it still could be made into a rug, but I found it recently. That's for me.
Cool.
That was. My mother went out and she bought this giant trout, and she's like, it's going to be a long season, and I finished it in my senior season.
Good.
Yeah, but crochet Bernie Sanders is a thing, and it's a pretty neat story. Of course, the viral meme did its thing, and now the Bernie Sanders crochet dolls are already on eBay. $15,500 right now. Ends tomorrow. $15,500, and the sale benefits charity. It will also be given to Meals on Wheels.
He has. I did find this on my phone. I mean, everything you get an ad with, right? And it was the man, the mittens, and the legend. However, that money just went to the manufacturer. I know Bernie has, he was quick on this, and it's to help Feeding America or something. And you can get a T-shirt that has Bernie on it. And I thought, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I will spend my money for that. But I thought the man, the mittens, and the legend were really
it
cool.
is. It's great. The story of those mittens, real quick. The idea of him wearing those mittens was to represent the state of Vermont, and someone made those mittens. So immediately, as soon as that happened, and he was on TV with them, the couple of mittens that she had made were purchased.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what I will bet this today on 1/26/21 that someday those mittens go to auction.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Someday the mittens he wore will go to auction. Whether that's a thing that happens relatively soon or not. But I bet that it does. I bet that it will. Last thing we'll wrap up on, I saw this, and most people that are listening probably don't know who this is, but Trey Songz is a very popular new R&B artist. And he's a talented guy. He's not my cup of tea necessarily, but he's a talented guy. Trey Songz refused to wear his mask when asked by police at Arrowhead Stadium during the AFC Championship game, and he ended up getting arrested. Well, there were video of him actually wearing a mask before he got arrested, and that was creating a lot of internet stir and talks of brutality and things like that. The video has come out since of him refusing to wear his mask, and so hopefully that stuff dies down. Just wear your mask, everybody. Wear your mask. Tomorrow, looking forward to Greg Joseph from the Clarks joining us, also our buddy Aaron from WTRF, Stephen Allen Adams. We'll have local news, state news as well. Penguins are on tonight. For Lola, I'm Rick. Have a great evening, everybody, and thank you for listening to The Watchdog.